Hey guys, it's Monkey here, and I want to bring you another video, and I want it to be about why top decking can hinder you as a new player. Now, I know a lot of you will come to this game and will instantly look for what the most OP deck is and try to copy it, and I'm telling you why that can hinder you strongly. Uh, I want to first start out with the disclosure. I'm not hating on anyone for net decking, and neither should you. You should never hate anyone for net decking, but you can tell them why it can't hinder them. And I want to start out by explaining that the way a deck's built is that you start out by theory crafting, and you think, okay, well, what's good in my deck? What's good in this meta? You think, okay, well, maybe Vitruvian's good in this meta. How many win conditions can I fit into my deck? How proactive can I be? And that starts to get you kind of your style. If it's a mid-range, aggro, or control deck, basically. Uh, and then after you do this, you're going to try to put in some reactive cards, but very few, just if you need them and you're not surviving to your win conditions. And I say 2 to 3 because I typically put 3 to 4. Most people put 1 to 2, so it depends. I average at about 2 to 3. And then they're gonna go to a phrase where after this average Joe, just this random guy out there, decides to build a deck and theorycraft it, he's gonna refine it. He's going to take out cards that he feels aren't working for him. He's gonna put in cards that are, in theory, and then he's gonna completely just keep doing that until he finds a list that he feels perfectly fine with. Me, myself, I play a deck average about 30 games with each deck, and I try every 5 games to take certain cards that are underperforming out and put certain cards that are overperforming and build them more around. And then if I take a card out, like say in my Zoo deck, I took out Vindicator and Flash. I felt like it was just completely trash. It was underperforming to the max. Cards were not good in that deck. I took them out, and then I replaced them with cards in theory that would work. And I also built more around Elucidator and Dire-Tide Frenzy because I felt like these cards were insane in the deck. Which is really good. But then the other thing is that, so this guy built that deck around his beliefs. No matter how much you try, so a lot of you will say like, okay, well I can just copy someone's deck because I can learn their playstyle. This is not true. It is actually mentally impossible for you to think like another person. Completely impossible. There is a study out there that says you can think to 80% of another person's potential, but there will be at 20% of you that will always think a different way. Therefore, it is impossible. I tried to learn Dresbo's list, for instance, not when I first came to the game, because when I first came to the game I understood that, and I got to S rank pretty quickly with my own style. But I tried to learn Dresbo's deck because it's known as the best Magmar deck around, because he is the highest statistically shown Magmar in the game, right? Played Magmar the most, he does the best with Magmar. Played it, did not like it. The reason why was because he has a very control-heavy style, very play-from-behind reactive style, and I'm more of a mid-rangey combo kind of style. That's the way I like to play card games. So it's a really good deck for him, but it's not for me. So I'm not saying the deck's bad, I'm not saying my deck's bad, I'm not saying my deck's good, I'm not saying his deck's good. I'm just saying for him, his deck's amazing. For me, my deck's amazing. For both of us, if we switch decks, we probably would not perform anywhere near as well. So you should always look for your own playstyle. So how do you find your own playstyle? Well, that's a good question. Basically, if you've ever played any other card game, it's pretty easy to know. But if you haven't played any card game, how it basically works is aggro compared to MMA is a really good comparison I like to make. Do you like to be a straight-up brawler? A brawler is an aggro player. You try to take out your enemy as fast as possible. You don't want long fatigue games. You just try to go for... In these kind of games, they call it face, which basically just means kind of like a brawler. You typically try to punch their face. They're going to try to block you, then you go for the body. You know, you have ways of getting through to them and beating them early before it gets bad. Then you have the mid-range guy. The mid-range guy is sort of like, he knows submissions, he knows brawling, right? But the thing is, he can't do either as good as the others. So if he faces a brawler, he's going to try to submit him, because he knows submissions and the brawler doesn't. The brawler's still going to try to beat him early, but if he can't, the mid-range can win. The mid-range then also, like I said, knows brawling, but he doesn't know submitting as good as the control player. So the control, aka the submitter, he's going to try to brawl him down, right? So then the control player is basically, as I pretty much alluded to, is a complete submissions expert. So what he's going to try to do is he's going to try to fatigue you as much as possible and win in the later game. Or the later fight. Which is completely how card games work, right? So you have to think, which one of those playstyles do you more so think of? If you were a MOBA player, then let's say any lane, you can just pick one. Top lane was what I played when I played League of Legends, so I'm going to tell you that I liked Renekton, Fiora, and Darius. I like these very early to mid game really strong fighters. Therefore, my playstyle was very mid-range. But if you like, say, Riven, then you'll love aggro. If you liked Karthus top lane, then you'll like control, you know. So it just depends if you like characters that are really good at late game, really good at mid game, or really good early game. And then it correlates straight into card games, guys. Not even trolling you. So, really good info to have. And then I would also like to add another example of why it doesn't fit. Because it's not just card games, guys. It is also MOBAs, right? Because I know I'm addressing this more to new players, and I understand some of you come from MOBAs, and you want to try out card games. And maybe Hearthstone didn't do it for you, so you try out this game. And one thing I have to say is that, like, even MOBAs, guys, I didn't like to play what the Cloud9 analyst told me, which was Kale and Rumble. I like to play, like I said, Renekton, Fiora, Darius. Therefore, just because they thought that was really strong, doesn't mean that I thought it was really strong. So no matter how much someone tells you, like, this list, I got a 90% win rate, I'm the best player in the world, doesn't mean you'll do the same thing with their list. You should always go for your own play style. Therefore, you become stronger as a player, have higher potential, know how to tech the deck in tournaments yourself, because you won't know how to tech their deck. It would be impossible for you to understand 100% how to tech their deck. So therefore, you should always try to do your own decks, guys, and that's how you learn. I know it'll be a little rough at the start, but later on it'll be so much more worth it. You will become a much better player because of this. Trust me. Alright guys, that's it from Matamunga. I'm going to sign out. Thank you guys for stopping by and watching. Good luck with all you guys in your duelist climbs, and I love you all. Seriously.